I like all ducks, but I especially like them when they're dead and cooked. A succulent piece of duck with crispy skin is very hard to beat, so in this video I will take a cheap one I found in a supermarket and attempt to give it a second life as my dinner. Along the way we'll learn how to fully prep it, barbecue it, and then serve it, so you too can enjoy this tasty bird. I found this Gressingham duck in Morrisons for £6. All supermarket ducks seem to be Gressingham, it must be one big farm. Since buying this duck I've actually seen it on offer at exactly the same price at most other supermarkets too, so look out for it. I then popped down to Aldi to get myself some hoisin sauce. Then I rushed home, put the duck in the freezer, waited 6 months, took it out the freezer, waited another day, and here we have a fresh duck. Now I have very little experience with whole ducks, so I don't know if this is a good duck, a bad duck, or just your average duck. It does, however, come with this bag of bits, which I believe would be the giblets. No idea what to do with these, so I googled it, and apart from the neck, you can give them to the dog. Apparently it's very good for them, so that's what I did. Right, I'm going to have to stop here and address this. That is a weird way to pick up a duck. I'm not sure what I'm trying to do to it there. I feel like I owe this thing an apology, or at least breakfast. Anyway, my odd lifting techniques aside, this is essentially a weird shaped chicken, but they also have this long sort of neck skin on. I'm just going to leave that on there. And the goal here is to get nice crispy skin, so as a first step, I'm just going to dry it off with some kitchen roll. And then I realised far too late that I'm getting duck all over my hands, so I put on a black glove. Not sure there's any point at this point, but there we go. Then I'm going to give it a dry brine, so just cover it in salt. Don't worry that this looks like way too much salt, this is just part of the method. Then you want to dry it on a rack. If you just leave it, it'll get a soggy bottom. No one wants a soggy bottom. So pop it on a rack, in a tray, and then pop it into the fridge, ideally overnight, although I think I did this for about 3 hours. Once it has had enough time to brine, we can knock up a quick glaze. We are going to use 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. If you don't have rice vinegar, you can just use white wine vinegar or even just clear white vinegar. Then 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce. You could use dark, I suppose, I just had light. And then 1 tablespoon of honey. Then with all your ingredients in a bowl, it's time to give it a quick stir. As with most things in barbecue, it's not going to matter too much if you don't get all these measurements exactly right, and always feel free to mix things up, change the ingredients, change the quantities, see what works for you. A good way to get crispy skin is to prick it all over with a toothpick. I can't be bothered to do that, so I'm going to use a meat tenderizer I got for £1 from Lidl and smash it all over. Now that the skin is holier than a vicar with a gunshot wound, it's time to add our glaze. Just use some sort of brush like this basting brush and cover it all over. Then we are ready to go out to the barbecue. I'm going to be cooking this today on my Traeger pellet smoker, which by the looks of it needs its annual clean. And I'm going to be cooking at 160 degrees Celsius. You of course don't have to use a Traeger pellet smoker, you can do this on any lidded barbecue. Just set it up for 160 indirect. After exactly 1 hour and 15 minutes, the internal temperature of this duck has reached 70 degrees Celsius, according to my Traeger. Check it with the handheld thermometer, it confirms 71, so we're all good, and it's ready for the second stage of the cook. It is pretty much done at this point, it's looking fantastic, but I do want that skin to crisp up even more, so I want to blast it at 240 degrees Celsius. Could do this on the Traeger, but it's far more efficient to do it in my oven. Always remember, it's absolutely fine to finish off your barbecue food in your oven if it's easier for you. It takes on most of the smoke during the first part of the cook anyway, and it can be an absolute lifesaver if you ever run out of fuel. So while our duck is getting a nice blast of heat, it is time to prep the things that are going to go with it. I'm going to be doing a stereotypical classic duck wrap, so start by slicing up some spring onions lengthways. Fairly unimaginative on my part, I admit, but I wanted to get that classic English Chinese restaurant feel. spring onions being nicely ribbanated, if that is indeed a word. And then prepare your pancakes, or use some mini tortilla wraps like I have here. Cheating's fine sometimes. Just whack them in the microwave for a minute and they'll be lovely. Now, that duck, having had 10 minutes of blasted heat in the oven, is looking absolutely delicious. The skin has crisped up nicely and is that beautiful dark brown colour. So it's time to come out and join the rest of us at the chopping board. Not quite ready to tuck into it yet though. Do remember to give it at least 10 minutes rest time. And those 10 minutes are yours to do with as you please. Read a newspaper, wash the cat, inappropriately pop your fingers into a raw duck. I'm here to cook barbecue food, not judge you. Should probably use this time to tell you I would love it if you subscribe to the channel, but jokes have to come first. But back to the duck, and it is looking beautiful. Those of you who watched my burger video recently will know that I really struggled with the term maillard, calling it mallard, but I'm happy to resurrect that term for this video. This has a mallard reaction. And with all of your components together, we are pretty much ready to go. You could just serve this at the table and tear it apart with a couple of forks, but I'm going to cut it up slightly differently. I'm basically going to do what I do with chicken, which is remove the breasts to slice them up separately, and then take off the legs and all the other bits of meat I can. It is a slightly different shape to a chicken, but all the parts are in the same place. Taking off this breast is a little bit fiddly, and it does make me think maybe I'd have been better spatchcocking this thing. Chickens are always way easier to carve up if you spatchcock them and remove the wishbones, so maybe that's something I should try with a duck next time. Just like in life, once you're done with the breasts, go to the legs. And then you should be left with a beautiful, succulent pile of duck meat to start building your wrap. You know, I was feeling guilty about not using pancakes for this video because it wasn't very authentic, but I've just remembered that you can actually get a duck wrap included in most supermarket meal deals, so this is authentic. Sort of. Just throw everything in any order you should like, fold it up, and you've got yourself a duck wrap. I gave that first wrap to Mrs. Barbecue because boy does she get grumpy when she's hungry, and carved off the rest of the meat. You don't get nearly as much meat off of a duck as you do a chicken, but there is plenty here for the two of us, and I was able to build up some pretty sizable duck wraps. And the amazing flavour of duck is very hard to beat. All in all, I'd recommend them. If you see them at this price, give them a go. And if you do try it, please let me know in the comments. Or even if you don't.